Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something that's been holding too many women back for too long, being the nice girl. You know exactly what I mean. Always saying yes, always putting others first, always avoiding conflict, always being agreeable, and for what? For approval, for validation, for the hope that if you're nice enough, people will respect you, love you, and appreciate you. I hate to break it to you, but that's not how it works. The truth is, when you're too nice, when you bend over backward to please everyone, when you don't gain respect, you lose it. You don't attract the right people. You attract the wrong ones. The ones who take advantage of you, who expect more than they give, who treat you like an option while you treat them like a priority. But here's what happens when you stop being the nice girl, when you start standing up for yourself, when you stop saying yes just to avoid making someone else uncomfortable, when you finally decide that your voice, your time, your needs, and your happiness actually matter first, people will push back. Oh, trust me, they will. They're used to you being the easygoing one, the one who sacrifices, the one who never complains the moment you say, no, I can't do that, or I'm not okay with this. They'll look at you like you just grew a second head. They might even try to guilt trip you, manipulate you, or make you feel like you're being selfish. Let me be clear. You are not selfish for setting boundaries. You are not wrong for choosing yourself. You are not mean for refusing to be walked all over D. You know what's actually selfish? Expecting someone to give and give and give without ever considering their needs, expecting someone to stay quiet just to keep the peace while they suffer in silence. That's selfish. The second thing that happens when you stop being the nice girl is that you gain respect, not from everyone. Some people will leave, and that's a good thing. But the people who truly matter, they'll respect you more. They'll start valuing your time. They'll start understanding that your kindness is a choice, not an obligation. And more importantly, you will start respecting yourself. You'll realize that you don't need anyone's permission to take up space. You realize that your worth isn't based on how much you do for others. You realize that the more you say no to the things that drain you, the more energy you have for the things that truly fulfill you. Another powerful shift happens when you stop being the nice girl. You stop attracting toxic people. You know those people who only call when they need something, who expect you to fix everything, who guilt trip you when you set boundaries. Yeah, those people will fade away, dude. Because the moment you stop overgiving, explaining over, apologizing, they lose control over you, and it feels amazing. But here's the best part. When you stop being the nice girl, you become the real you. You start showing up as yourself, not as the version of you that makes everyone else comfortable. And when you do you attract people who actually see you, people who love you for who you are, not for what you do for them. That's the real magic. That's when you stop chasing validation and start living for yourself. That's when you step into your power doso. Stop waiting for permission. Stop apologizing for taking care of yourself. Stop worrying about who might leave when you start putting yourself first up, because the ones who truly belong in your life, they won't leave. They'll celebrate you for finally standing in your truth, and the ones who don't let them go, they were only there because of what you could do for them, not because they truly valued you. The only approval you need is your own. Start acting like it being nice, that the expense of yourself is not kindness, it's self-betrayal. And for too long, too, many women have been taught that in order to be good, in order to be lovable, in order to be accepted, they have to put everyone else first. They have to keep the peace. They have to make sure nobody is upset, even if it means swallowing their own feelings. But let's be honest. Where has that gotten you? Has being the nice girl made you happier? Has it brought you the respect you deserve? Has it protected you from being taken for granted, from being overlooked, from being exhausted to your core because you're constantly putting yourself? Last, the answer is no, because when you constantly put others before yourself, you're sending a message both to the world and to yourself that your needs don't matter, that your time is less valuable, that your boundaries are flexible. And do you know what happens? Next, people believe you. They start treating you exactly the way you allow them to you say yes when you really want to say no. And people assume you don't mind you drop everything for others, and they assume you'll always be available. You go along with things that make you uncomfortable, and they assume you have no limits, and then you wonder why you feel so drained, so unseen, so unheard. But let's be clear, this isn't about blaming anyone. This is about recognizing a pattern that you have the power to break. Because here's the truth. The world doesn't reward you for being self-sacrificing. It rewards you for knowing your worth. It rewards you for standing up for yourself. It rewards you for making it clear that your kindness is a choice, not an obligation. Real kindness isn't about being agreeable at all costs. It isn't about making yourself smaller so that others can feel more comfortable. Real kindness includes yourself in the equation. It means treating yourself with the same level of respect, care, and compassion that you so freely give to others. Imagine if you started prioritizing yourself the way you prioritize everyone else. Imagine if you gave yourself the same grace, the same understanding, the same patience that you give to the people around you. Imagine how much energy, how much peace, how much confidence you would have if you stop treating yourself like an afterthought. This shift starts with one simple truth. You do not owe anyone your constant compliance. You are not required to sacrifice your own needs just to make someone else comfortable. And if someone tries to make you feel guilty for standing up for yourself, that is their problem, not yours, because the people who truly care about you, they want you to be happy. They want you to be fulfilled. They don't want you to burn yourself out just to keep them comfortable. And the people who only like you when you're bending over backward for them, those aren't your people. It's time to let go of the belief that in order to be a good person, you have to be available 24/7. That in order to be loved, you have to be easygoing. That in order to be respected, you have to constantly prove yourself. You don't, you are already enough. Your voice matters, your needs matter, your time matters. And the moment you start acting like it, everything changes. So stop betraying yourself for the sake of being nice. Stop shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. Stop saying yes when you mean no. Because the people who truly value, you won't leave when you set boundaries. They'll respect you more for it. And the ones who walk away, they were never really there for you in the first place. You owe it to yourself to start choosing you. When you stop people pleasing, you start gaining respect. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. You spent years, maybe even your entire life, bending over backward to be agreeable, to avoid conflict. You've made it your mission to be the person everyone can depend on, the one who says yes, even when it drains you, the one who keeps the peace, even when you're the one suffering. But here's the problem. When you live like this, you don't gain respect, you gain exhaustion, you gain resentment, you gain people who take you for granted because they assume you'll always be available, always be willing, always be the person who gives more than she receives. Respect doesn't come from being a doormat. It comes from being a person with a backbone. It comes from being someone who has standards for how she's treated, who isn't afraid to say no, who values her time, energy, and well-being just as much as she values anyone else's. The moment you stop saying yes out of obligation, people will notice. At first, they might be confused. Some might even be upset, especially ones who benefited from your inability to say no. But eventually, they will adjust. And more importantly, you will adjust. You'll start realizing that you don't have to overextend yourself to be valuable. You don't have to constantly prove your worth by putting everyone else first. You might think that saying no will push people away. But the truth is, the people who truly respect you won't leave just because you set boundaries. They'll respect you more. They'll realize that you are not someone who can be guilted into doing things that don't serve you. They'll see that your kindness is a choice, not an expectation. And here's the best part. When you start respecting yourself, it teaches others how to treat you. When you stop apologizing for setting boundaries, people stop expecting you to compromise your needs. When you start valuing your time, People stop assuming they can waste it when you stop bending over backward. For everyone, people begin to step up and meet you halfway. This isn't about being rude. It's not about becoming selfish or unkind. It's about realizing that respect isn't something you get from saying yes to everything. Respect is something you command by showing up as someone who knows her worth. Think about the people you respect most in your life. Are they the ones who let everyone walk all over them? Are they the ones who say yes to everything even when they don't want to? Are they the ones who avoid conflict at all costs? No, you respect the people who stand their ground, the ones who are kind but firm, the ones who don't let fear, rejection dictate how they live their lives. And you can be that person too, but it requires a shift. It requires is getting comfortable with the fact that not everyone will like you when you start choosing yourself. Some people might call you difficult. Some might say you've changed. Some might even try to make you feel guilty. Let them, because the people who only liked you when you were bending over backward for them, they never truly respected you in the first place. Real respect comes from knowing who you are and refusing to compromise on what truly matters to you. It comes from understanding that your voice, your needs, and your boundaries are just as important as anyone else's. It comes from stepping into your power and owning the fact that you don't have to please everyone to be worthy. So stop being afraid of disappointing people. Stop saying yes when you want to say no. Stop letting guilt keep you stuck in a cycle of overgiving and under-receiving. Because the moment you stop people pleasing, you don't just gain respect from others, you gain the most important respect of all, your own confidence. Doesn't come from making everyone happy. It comes from trusting yourself. For years, you've been conditioned to believe that if you just say the right thing, do the right thing, or act the right way, people will approve of you. You've been taught that your worth is tied to how well you fit into the expectations of others, whether it's in relationships at work or even in your own family. But here's what no one tells you: chasing approval is a losing game, because no matter how much you try, you will never please everyone. Someone will always have an opinion. Someone will always criticize. Someone will always want more from you than you are willing or able to give. The secret to confidence isn't found in gaining validation from others. It's found in deciding that your own approval is enough. It's found in trusting yourself, in knowing that you can make your own decisions, stand on your own 2 feet, and take up space in this world without apologizing for it. Think about the moments when you felt the most insecure. Chances are those were the times when you were too focused on how others might perceive you. You hesitated before speaking because you didn't want to sound foolish. You second-guessed your decisions because you were afraid of making the wrong choice. You held back from saying no because you didn't want to disappoint anyone. But confidence is built in the moments when you choose to act anyway, when you speak your mind, even if your voice shakes, when you make a decision, even if not everyone agrees with it, when you say no, even if it makes someone else uncomfortable. It's not about never feeling fear or doubt. It's about learning to move through them. Every time you trust yourself enough to take action, you reinforce the belief that you are capable, and the more you do it, the more that belief grows. The most confident people in the world aren't the ones who never make mistakes. They aren't the ones who never fail. They aren't the ones who have it all figured out. They are simply the ones who trust themselves to handle whatever comes their way. They know that even if they fail, they'll learn. Even if they face rejection, they'll survive. Even if things don't go according to plan, they'll figure it out. This kind of confidence doesn't happen overnight. It's something you build step by step by choosing to show up for yourself. It's built every time you decide to trust your instincts instead of seeking permission, every time you set a boundary instead of letting someone walk all over you, every time you choose your own well-being over someone else's expectations. And here's the best part. Once you start living this way, everything changes. You stop wasting energy on people who don't respect you. You stop feeling anxious about every little decision because you trust yourself to figure it out. You stop needing external validation because you realize that your opinion of yourself is the one that matters most. But be prepared. Not everyone will like it when you showing up with confidence. The people who benefited from your self-doubt, the ones who relied on your need for approval, might push back. They might call you selfish. They might try to guilt trip you. They might even say you've changed, and you know what, they're right. You have changed. You've stopped living for their approval and started living for yourself. You stopped seeking permission and started owning your choices. You stopped trying to fit into a mold that was never meant for you. That is what real confidence looks like. It's not about arrogance. It's not about perfection. It's about trust. Just trusting yourself enough to know that you are capable, you are worthy, and you are enough exactly as you are. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you have. And when you stop explaining yourself to everyone, you take back control of your life. Too many of us waste time and energy justifying our decisions, explaining our boundaries, and seeking approval for choices that don't require anyone else's permission. You don't owe the world an explanation for why you do what's best for you. Think about how much energy you've spent trying to make people understand your decision. Maybe you've worked hard to set a boundary with a friend or family member, but instead of standing firm, you found yourself over explaining why you needed to do it. Maybe you've made a career change, but you kept trying to justify it to people who wouldn't have supported you. No matter what, maybe you said no to something that didn't align with your values, but instead of simply declining, you felt the need to make up an excuse or soften the blow. Here's the truth. Every time you explain yourself to someone who doesn't deserve an explanation, you are giving away your power. You are allowing their opinion to dictate your choices. You are allowing their judgment to make you second guess yourself. And for what? Most of the time, the people who demand explanations from you aren't interested in understanding. They're interested in control. There's a difference between communicating and justifying. If someone genuinely cares about you and asks about your choices out of love and curiosity, of course you can share. But if someone constantly questions you, criticizes you, or makes you feel like you have to defend your every move, stop explaining. You don't have to justify why you need rest. You don't have to explain why you're setting a boundary. You don't have to give a detailed reason for why you're saying no is a full sentence. I don't want to is a valid reason that doesn't work for me is more than enough. When you stop explaining yourself, people start to realize that your decisions are not up for debate. You are not asking for permission. You are stating what is you are letting them know without words that your choices are yours to make and that you do not need external validation. And something incredible happens when you start doing this. You feel lighter. You stop overanalyzing every conversation. You stop stressing about how others will react. You stop waiting for someone else's approval before taking action in your own life. People might resist at first. The ones who are used to you justifying yourself might push back. They might demand explanations. They might try to make you feel guilty, but that's not your burden. To carry their discomfort is not your problem. The more you hold your ground, the more they will learn that you are not here to make them comfortable at your own expense. And the best part, the right people, the ones who truly respect you, will not need explanations. They will trust that you know what's best for yourself. They will support you without demanding justification. They will respect your boundaries without needing a long-winded reason by staying silent. When explanations aren't necessary, you reclaim your time, your energy, and your peace. You step into your power and remind yourself that you don't need permission to live your life. You don't need to make everyone understand you. Just need to trust yourself and move forward unapologetic. Allie, not everyone deserves access to you, your time, your energy, your peace of mind. These are all valuable, and yet too often we give them away freely to people who drain us, disrespect us, or bring negativity into our lives. The truth is, not everyone is meant to sit at your table. Not everyone should have access to your thoughts, your emotions, or your personal space. And when you realize this, everything changes. There is incredible power in being selective about who you allow into your life. You don't have to entertain every conversation. You don't have to engage with every argument. You don't have to keep toxic people around. Just because of history, guilt, or obligation, the people you surround yourself with either fuel your growth or drain your energy. And the moment you recognize that, you start making different choices. One of the hardest lessons to learn is that some people are only in your life because they benefit from your kindness, your willingness to listen, and your habit of always showing up for them. Yet they do not reciprocate that same energy. You have to ask yourself, is this relationship mutual, or am I the only one pouring into it? Are these people uplifting me, or am I constantly the one giving, adjusting, and compromising? Setting boundaries isn't just about saying no with the things you don't want. It's about making space for the things you do want. If your life is cluttered with people who drain you, you have room for the ones who truly support you. If you spend all your time and then urge on people who don't appreciate you, you won't have anything left for the relationships that actually matter. You don't need permission to protect your peace. You don't need a long explanation for why you're distancing yourself from certain people. You don't owe anyone apology for prioritizing your own well-being. If someone is constantly bringing negativity into your life, it is your responsibility to remove them from your space. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. People will push back. The one who have benefited from your lack of boundaries will not like the new version of you, the version that says no, the version that doesn't tolerate disrespect, the version that refuses to overextend for people who wouldn't do the same in return. But their reaction is not your responsibility. There is nothing selfish about protecting yourself from negativity. There is nothing wrong with deciding that you deserve to be surrounded by people who love, respect, and uplift you. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with cutting ties with those who refuse to honor your boundaries. This doesn't mean you have to be cold or unkind. It doesn't mean you have to create drama or announce your decision to the world. It simply means you make quiet, deliberate choices about who has access to you. It means you stop chasing people who don't make an effort to stay. It means you stop explaining yourself to those who aren't willing to listen. It means you walk away from anything and anyone that drains your spirit. The most powerful version of you is the one that understands your worth, the one that knows you don't need to prove yourself to anyone but the one that stands firm in the belief that you deserve peace, love, and respect. And that version of you, it emerges the moment you stop letting the wrong people take up space in your life. So be selective, guard your energy, protect your peace. Not everyone deserves access to you. And the sooner you realize that, the freer you will become